pesos.
Family Feud, 5:40 p.m.
Para sa ating 3rd anniversary na Pi Channel, kaya malapit na manood, maglaro at manood rin sila sa Padikong na PH dito sa Pi.
Our one-of-a-kind JKM Burger Pizza, the perfect fusion of flavors that
Nagmamano pa.
That's okay.
The 30-year-old suspect, who they say chanted "Free Palestine" while being taken into custody. U.S. President Donald Trump has condemned the killings as horrible and anti-Semitic. The UN says dozens of aid trucks have reached the World Food Program warehouses in central Gaza after delays caused by Israeli military restrictions and fears of looting. Israel allowed 100 trucks carrying flour, baby food, and medical equipment to cross into Gaza on Wednesday. Food security experts say 500,000 people are facing starvation. U.S. President Donald Trump has accused South Africa's government of allowing what he called a genocide against minority white farmers. During a White House meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa, Trump presented articles and a video claiming white farmers were fleeing South Africa. Trump has granted refugee status to dozens of white South Africans. Ramaphosa rejects Trump's claims. This is DW News from Berlin. You can get much more news on our website. That's dw.com.
How about this 5-minute newspaper now at 6:50 today?
Today, 2 Israeli embassy staff are killed in a shooting in Washington, D.C.
Trump confronts the president of South Africa with false claims of white genocide.
A judge says Trump officials violated a court order over an attempt to deport migrants to South Sudan.
And the U.S. Justice Department pulls back on
It's Thursday, May 22nd. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes every weekday. I'm Tara Oakes in Liverpool.
And I'm Jonah Green in New York.
First to Washington, D.C., where 2 Israeli embassy staff have been shot and killed outside the Capitol Jewish Museum. Pamela Smith is the chief of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department.
The suspect chanted "Free, Free Palestine" while in custody.
The detained suspect has been identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez from Chicago. The man and woman were a young couple about to be engaged, according to the Israeli ambassador. The shooting has drawn swift condemnation from around the world, with US President Donald Trump posting on social media, "These horrible DC killings, based obviously on anti-Semitism, must end now." You can follow along on Reuters Live page for the latest developments. Also in Washington, Trump's tax bill inches closer to the finish line. The House of Representatives has voted roughly along party lines to begin a debate that would lead to a vote on passage later this morning. It comes after weeks of in-party divisions over how deep spending cuts should be. They're due to vote again later in the morning and send it on to the Republican-led Senate, which could take weeks to act.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa had hoped to discuss trade and critical minerals in his meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump. Instead, what he got was
And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them. No.
he even played a video purporting to show evidence of this. which Ramaphosa politely refuted.
People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people.
Jeff Mason is at the White House. So Jeff, what did you make of this?
It's another example of how the president has used the Oval Office as a cudgel in some ways. He certainly did that when President Zelensky of Ukraine was here for the first time, and has done it again today with the South African president. I would note, however, that President Ramaphosa had a different strategy himself. He came in prepared for an aggressive reception and remained poised throughout, did not sort of fight back, and even brought along a couple white golfers as people who could appeal to President Trump.
He joked that he was sorry he didn't come bearing a free plane for Trump, which was a reference to the 747 that Qatar gifted him. And as you mentioned, he had these two golfers. Do you find that world leaders are considering this as they approach Trump, ways to kind of mollify the U.S. president so that they don't get Zelensky'd?
Absolutely. I think world leaders who are coming to the White House are preparing and have studied what happened with Zelensky, and are coming, if not with gifts, they are certainly coming with an attitude of stay calm, be prepared, know your brief, and also know what's coming at you in terms of the grievances that the president has.
The Air Force has been asked to find a way to rapidly upgrade it for use as a new Air Force One.
Israel has allowed 100 aid trucks into the Gaza Strip, carrying flour, baby food, and medical equipment. But the UN says that distribution issues mean that no aid has yet reached people in need.
A U.S. judge says that President Trump's attempt to transfer immigrants to South Sudan violated a judicial order. On Tuesday, District Judge Brian Murphy ordered the administration not to let a group of migrants being flown to South Sudan leave the custody of U.S. immigration authorities. And yesterday, the judge said the migrants appear to have been deported in violation of his previous order not to deport migrants to countries other than their own without the opportunity to contest their deportations.
The White House, in a statement, called Murphy a far-left activist judge, while a spokesperson for the Homeland Security Department called his ruling deranged. Jonah spoke to immigration reporter Ted Hessen in Washington.
Ted, first, why is the White House deporting these men, many of whom are not from South Sudan, to South Sudan?
U.S. officials have long struggled to deport some migrants to their home countries because their countries won't accept them or they're slow to accept them. But in the case here, what's different is that in recent weeks, we've seen first the Trump administration attempt to deport migrants to Libya and now to South Sudan. And I actually asked the question to a DHS official at a press conference as to why he says.
There was an effort to put the brakes on this type of work. They never went so far as to rescind findings of wrongdoing.
So why is the DOJ doing this?
Harmeet Dillon, who's the Assistant Attorney General of the Civil Rights Division, had a number of different criticisms for these consent decrees, which are essentially court-approved settlements with cities to implement a variety of reforms in police departments. You know, she said that they cost too much money, they stretch on for too long, and it really involves too much of micromanaging in the matters of local police, and that instead of punishing essentially an entire police force for misconduct of one or two, the department should instead focus on perhaps prosecuting individual police officers who may have committed acts of misconduct that merit prosecution.
And for today's recommended read, The Battle for Superstar AI Talent. Top tech companies are shelling out millions to attract and retain top talent in a field where AI researchers can earn more than $10 million a year. We'll drop a link to that story in the pod description.
For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast player. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.